Hey everybody. So this kind of sucks, right? I mean, I've never done stand-up before, and I was kind of worried, to be honest. I was a bit nervous about doing it at ISNL for the first time, and then coronavirus happened, and then ISNL got kind of canceled. But you know what? Then I saw John Oliver doing his show, right? And he just does it from his house, right? Looks kind of like this. So I figured if he can do it, why can't I? And people have been telling me I look like John Oliver for years, so might as well. Now you see the resemblance, eh? I look just like John Oliver. The only difference is that I don't have a fancy studio or a teleprompter or anything. I just got a mouse to control my laptop. But we'll make it work. Anyway, how's everybody's quarantine going? Good? Mine just got a bit more intense. Went to go for a walk. It's like the only thing we can still do, right? Went to go for a walk on the trails by my house. And the trail was completely blocked off. There were bylaw officers standing at the trailhead handing out tickets to people for not social distancing, which is totally valid, I guess. I'm just kind of confused at how it's a solution to the problem. Because the way I see it, walking on the trails near my house, there's like a 50% chance that you'll come within 6 feet of someone. But handing out a ticket, isn't there a 100% chance that that officer will come into contact, or at least within a couple feet of the person being ticketed? Unless they're just, all the officers are just standing out there using those like extendable dinosaur heads on a stick to hand out the tickets to people. Anyway, no more coronavirus. We hear enough about it. First years, how you doing, kids? It's a bold move of you to be watching this, when you have a life sci exam to study for. There's so many concepts that you have to, become familiar with. Ecology, cancer, semi-parametric population growth models, some intense anxiety because you didn't realize that I made up that last thing. Second years, you guys are like the polar opposite. This was like the only synthesis event you were going to go to. Am I right? I'm sad that synthesis was largely canceled because personally, I couldn't wait for all those EP presentations that don't exist. And I'm sure that Sarah couldn't wait to read all your reflections on those events that you definitely attended. And there's third years. You guys have my respect. You probably wouldn't have gone to any events either, but at least you earned the chance to do nothing and think that you're through the worst of it. You're not. And then we've got my good friends, the cohort that's seen it all. To you, I say, we survived. We made it. We made it through so much, too. Like that one time that Chad got really mad. Like, you guys remember the time. Louder than we had ever heard him. And we all genuinely thought he was going to fail the whole class. Or that other time in first year that Thode fire alarm went off during the night that Long Kappa was due. Or, Andrew Colgoni at any given time that we saw him. I'm just kidding. We love you, Andrew, if you're watching this. If you are watching this, I hope you liked my other video. You were 100% of the inspiration for that. Chad and I are no odd couple, but we try our best. The first and third years are still back like 30 seconds ago wondering what the fuck a Long Kappa is. Genuinely though, back to Sarah and Andrew, I think I have to give them a huge shout out. For all you kiddies in the audience, Andrew helped teach SciLit until this year. And SciLit is just such a great course. Like you get to learn how to write and make PowerPoints and not plagiarize. Just all these things that we, probably should have known before coming into university, but still. And yet, there's still things that nobody else in our elective courses seem to know, even in university. SciLit is also one of my favorite courses because it really helps you make it through first year, Every other course we take in first year is just so grueling and requires hours and hours of work outside class time. Meanwhile, in SciLit, we complete most of our work in class and still sleep through half of it. I'm kidding, again. Everyone knows that when people want to sleep, they just don't go to SciLit, except Chris Chan. Honestly, if there is one thing that I wish ISI had taught me more of, it's that we shouldn't skip class. I mean, they definitely tried to more than other courses, don't get me wrong, but I've still skipped at least 30% of my undergraduate degree. Even 4A12 seminar classes, which are meant to be like useful things for life. Like we had thesis practice presentations a few weeks ago, and Carolyn starts the class by saying, it's gonna go just like it did on Monday. But nobody in that class was there who wasn't presenting, and it was the exact same deal on Monday. Nobody knew how it went on Monday because nobody was there. Mike was sitting beside me and he got disappointed, and this genuinely happened, when he realized that the class was 2 hours. And I said to him, when has it ever just been 1 hour? And he said, I've never been. I think that's a pretty accurate, summary of how people feel about ISI classes, about all classes. And genuinely, aside from the 15 minutes a week that I spend with Chad, talking about thesis, I think that was one of the only 4 or 5 times that I've been at Thode in the last 6 months. I guess I just don't really see the attraction anymore. First year was like, ooh, you guys are special. So you get a special floor in the special library for just science kids. And it was kind of cool because you'd go into the iStudy and see all these old textbooks and outlets that don't work, and the seismograph that doesn't work, and the whiteboard markers that also don't work, and that creepy blanket that the class of 2019 had made with all their faces on it. And it was cool because all this stuff made you question your own sanity. And that's how you knew that you were at ISI. And then second year, you have this discovery of, wait, the other 2 floors of the library aren't 30 degrees Celsius all the time? I find it really funny how even after that point, after we all, start using other parts of the library more than the iStudy, we'll still go to the 3rd floor once in a blue moon and be super territorial about it. Like we see people on the couches out in the hall that aren't in ISI, and everyone suddenly turns into Shrek, like, get out, Miss Swamp, regardless of if they've ever been there in the last year. I think my favorite thing about Thode, though, has to be Chad and Carolyn's offices. I remember that first time that I went into Chad's office in first year, and I thought, wow, that's what a prof's office looks like. Then I went into Carolyn's office for the first time during Hottie in second year. I thought to myself, wow, Chad's office is a dump. True story, he's been cleaning that office for over a year. I say cleaning in, air quotes. Last year for ISNL, I filmed a video with him where I made him start cleaning his office for 20 minutes. This year, during the last 2 thesis meetings I had with him, his first remark was, yeah, I've really been making progress on cleaning this office. The best part is that I genuinely couldn't tell the difference between the office then and the office a year ago. There are times that I think iTeach members were selected at least partially based on the entertainment value for the students. I mean, let's just do a quick head count here. We have a 6-foot-tall dad who likes to start his classes by imitating insects. We have a grandmother who gives out candy during the exams, an exceedingly British genius who gets excited by PowerPoint, an Eastern European computer that someone cleverly disguised as a man, another 6-foot-tall guy that was probably in a rock band at one point, and a chemist who managed to lock the exam in a different room on the other side of campus. And that's not even the whole list. There's just a revolving door of these characters that seem to change every year just to keep us on our toes. And you know what? I'm going to miss it. Don't get me wrong, a lot of undergrad just sucks no matter what. Your sleep schedule gets fucked up irreversibly. You spend a considerable amount of time learning things from Paul Harrison that you'll never use again. You make a ton of mistakes that you think you'll regret forever, including making an Instagram blog where you review various kinds of water, and you become way too familiar with the toxic waste that this campus considers fit for human consumption. But if you're going to go through all that, ISI is by far the most entertaining way you can do that. So thank you all for the entertainment that has been the last 4 years. And goodbye, ISI.